What if I told you there's one single skill that could totally transform your blood sugar control? It's called carb counting, and it is, without a doubt, the foundation of managing diabetes with food. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Oh, that sounds so complicated, but I promise you, it's way simpler than it seems. So today, we're going to break it all down, step by step, and give you the confidence to really take charge of your meals.
First, just look at this number for a second. 0.21%. Let that sink in. What do you think that could possibly represent? That is the proven, scientifically backed reduction in HbA1c for people with type 1 diabetes who really get the hang of this skill. See, this isn't just some nice-to-have advice. It's a technique with real, measurable results. The main takeaway here? This isn't a guess. It's a proven strategy. Okay, so why all the focus on carbohydrates? I mean, what about protein or fat? Let's dive into why carbs are truly the main event when we're talking about blood sugar management.
Just take a look at this chart. It really says it all, doesn't it? See that massive spike from carbohydrates? That's because out of the three big macronutrients, carbs have the most direct and the fastest impact. Why? Well, nearly 100% of them turn into glucose in your bloodstream, and they do it quick. Protein and fat, their effect is much, much smaller and slower. Understanding this one simple fact is the key to predicting how your body's going to react to any meal. And I really, really want to hammer this point home. This whole thing, it is not about labeling foods as good or bad. Forget that. This is about empowerment. It's about giving you the knowledge to understand what your food does so that you can be the one in the driver's seat.
So, where do we start? Well, before you can count anything, you have to know what to count in the first place. And lucky for us, it's really as simple as learning two basic categories.
Here they are. These are the two groups you need to get familiar with. On one side, in the Count These column, you've got the foods that are going to directly impact your blood sugar. Things like rice and roti, starchy veggies like potatoes, fruits, and, yep, even dal and milk. On the other side, in the Mostly Free column, you have proteins like meat and panina, leafy greens, and fats. Once you get these categories down, trust me, most of your meals become instantly predictable.
All right, now for the secret weapon. This is the trick that makes counting feel totally manageable instead of like you're doing calculus at the dinner table. I want to introduce you to the 15-gram rule. This concept is about to become your new best friend. We're going to use a super simple unit called a carb serving. So what is it? It's just any portion of food that has about 15 grams of carbohydrate. Think of it like a Lego block. Instead of trying to count, say, 63 grams of carbs, you can just think, okay, that's about 4 blocks, 4 servings. See? It just simplifies the whole thing. Let's make this real. That medium-sized roti you have with your meal? Boom. That's your first building block right there. About 1 carb serving, or 15 grams. Easy. And what about rice? Just 1/3 of a cup of cooked rice. That's also 1 carb serving. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who on earth eats just 1/3 of a cup of rice? But that's the point. It's about learning the blocks. Once you know this, you know that a full cup is just 3 of those blocks, about 3 servings, or 45 grams. See how that works?
And it's not just solid foods. 1 cup of milk also clocks in at around 1 carb serving. This is a big one that surprised me when I first learned it. The sugar in milk, lactose, is a carbohydrate, and it absolutely needs to be counted.
Okay, but what about all the food that comes in a package? Well, this is where we get to put on our detective hats. Let's learn how to master the food label. I promise, it's easier than you think. It's really just a simple 4-step process. Step 1, always check the serving size. It's usually way smaller than what we actually eat. Step 2, find the line that says total carbohydrate, not just sugars, the total number. Step 3, do a quick bit of math for your portion size. And step 4, and this is a big one, please remember, sugar-free does not mean carb-free. Those products often use other things that will still affect your blood sugar. Of course, the best meals, the ones we make at home or get at our favorite restaurant, they don't come with a neat little label. So what do you do then? Well, you need a toolkit.
And here it is, your estimation toolkit. You can start with something you always have with you, your hand. Your fist is about 1 cup. The palm of your hand is a good guide for a portion of protein. At home, measuring cups are fantastic for practice. And sure, there are smart apps out there like Gheware that can even estimate carbs from a photo, but if I had to recommend one single tool above all others, it's the digital food scale. And this is a quote worth remembering. A digital food scale is the single most useful tool you can own right after your glucometer. Especially when you're just starting out, weighing your food builds this incredible internal sense of accuracy that you will carry with you forever, even when you graduate to just eyeballing it later on. So let's take these skills and put them into practice with some everyday examples. Here's a quick guide for some really common Indian dishes that you might be eating all the time.
Okay, let's look at some actual numbers, because this is where the light bulb really goes on. A plain dosa? That's about 30 grams of carbs, or 2 of our carb servings. But check out dal, something many of us think of as just protein, can easily have 35 to 40 grams of carbs in a bowl. And a single cup of biryani? Whoa, that can be 50 grams or even more. That could be your entire carb budget for a meal in just that one cup. Seeing these numbers is what gives you real power.
Now, for those of you who use insulin, listen up, because this skill is an absolute game changer. It unlocks something called an insulin to carb ratio. So, for example, a ratio of 1 to 10 just means you take 1 unit of insulin for every 10 grams of carbs you eat. Now, this is a super personal number you have to work out with your doctor, but once you have it, it gives you incredible precision and freedom. Before we finish up, I want to leave you with a really important thought on this. Research shows that even people who've been doing this for years have an error margin of about 15 to 20 grams. And you know what? That is completely okay. The goal here is not perfection. It is progress. It's about being consistent. Just getting a little bit closer every day is what leads to amazing control. And this is why this skill is so incredibly vital, especially when you think about a typical Indian diet when 60 to 70% of your calories are coming from carbohydrates. Being aware of them and knowing how to count them isn't just helpful, it is absolutely essential for managing your health. And of course, just a quick and important disclaimer, all of this information is for your education. It is so important that you work with your doctor or a registered dietitian to create a plan that's personalized just for you. And please, never, ever adjust your medications on your own. So there you have it. You have the tools, you have the techniques, and you have the knowledge. You now have the foundational skill for taking charge of your diabetes. The only question left is, how are you going to use this knowledge to take control of your very next meal?